And what's up, everybody? I'm back with another episode of the Live, Laugh, Left podcast. Oh yeah, we're going to talk about them. Don't worry. Gary's not here. He was supposed to be here, and then he had emergency surgery. Well, not emergency surgery, but he had surgery, and the surgery didn't go... Surgery went fine, but he has to go back for another thing. Don't worry, he's okay. But he will not be here because he is in some pain, and he has to be up early for a doctor's appointment. And we're doing this pretty late at night. So Gary will be back next week. Don't worry about that. As a result, I did have trivia for today. We're gonna save it because Gary is not here. But we're gonna go over everything as it is. Normally, we've got a lot to talk about. NBA playoff action, including the Pistons, NHL playoff action to update, NASCAR action to update, and we got a few other things to go over too, including baseball and everything else. So, should be a lot of fun. So we're gonna jump right into it. You might see a little glare over here. I got some score results posted up from stuff that Gary normally covers, and so we're gonna cover that today. So, again, not doing any trivia today. I don't have anything football related to talk about as well. But we'll start off with baseball just because there hasn't. Well, no, actually, we'll start off with NASCAR. Start off with NASCAR this week. Texas happened. It was fine. Texas is a weird track now because of all the bumps. They can never seem to get that track fully ever figured out. And it causes some pretty wacky stuff. I still won't say good racing, but I'd say wacky racing for sure. And it was fine. It was a fine weekend overall. Is what I will say. For the truck series, Carson Hocevar won the truck race. Doesn't matter because he's not a points driver anyways. The highest paying points driver was Caden Honeycutt, who finished third. In the Xfinity Series, Kyle Larson won. Again, didn't really fucking matter. Cup guys swept the weekend. It was at least a good finish between him and Justin Allgaier. Good battle there at the end. And then in the Cup race, Chase Elliott got the win. Yeah, baby. Good end to the weekend there. Chase Elliott picking up his second win of the season. First points paying win of the season for Chase Elliott. So that is really, really good. So congratulations to the 9 team. Big dubs for Pringleson there. We had who did we have this week? Oh, we picked Hocevar in fantasy this week. We got 7th place with some stage points. Not a terrible weekend. But what are you gonna do? And then so that was Texas. I mean, it was pretty Tex-ass, I gotta say. I didn't watch any of it. That's why it's pretty quick. Like, I just watched the highlights because I did some other things that we will talk about a little bit later in the episode. And then for Gary did not update the poker chips. Great. We'll have to do that next week. See, probably I won because Gary has not won yet this season. But for next week, this upcoming week for NASCAR, it is Watkins Glen. Still really, really weird that Watkins Glen is as early in the season as it is this year. I still can't really believe that Watkins Glen is the next race. But Watkins Glen always puts on a good show, in my opinion. A lot of good things happen at that track. So I think it will still be a good race. It'll be interesting to see how the track is in the springtime. It's usually an August or September race. Well, mostly August, but not one time it was in September. So we'll see how it is in May. I think it'll be pretty fun. Garry did do poker chip drawing off screen before the episode. I have Kyle Larson this weekend, and he has Josh Berry. So we'll see who wins that freaking handout next week. So that's it for big NASCAR action. The only other big thing from the race weekend was Kyle Busch and John Hunter Nemechek getting into a bit of a tangle at the end of the Cup race. Nothing really stemmed from it, though. At least off-track consequences. We'll see what happens on the track. Watkins Glen's a good track to get revenge at, so that should be fun. So that's it for that. The only other NASCAR news I had is some pretty sad shit. Really shady shit coming out of the some stuff with Greg Biffle and his family. They've passed away a few months ago now. But there were search warrants executed over the robbery of his house. Yeah, apparently right after the crash, like a little bit after the crash, like a day or so, there was a robbery at his house. And so there is heavy suspicion and heavy investigation that there was an inside job over what happened. And that is very sad. Very sad. And very weird. Makes it really, it's really fucked up. That's what I gotta say. Very fucked up. Very fucked up indeed. Hopefully justice is served. Because it's really it's a really confusing situation and also just really fucked up. Okay. After that depressing news, there wasn't. I have a couple other sports news things to talk about as well. Chris Barnes retired from the PBA, retired from full-time PBA competition after 28 seasons. Chris Barnes has been around in the PBA for a really long time. Very big history of choking, but still a very successful bowler. And I am a bowling fan, so I thought this was important to include. Well, you retire from full-time PBA competition it's not like other sports where you just are completely off the grid. No, there is a senior tour that he will now start competing in. He'll probably still compete in a few main tournaments here and there, especially to help support his son, Ryan Barnes, who's now becoming a burgeoning star on the tour. So, salute to Chris Barnes, another legend. And then, of course, the Kentucky Derby was this weekend. Hint, I actually had the opportunity to go work the Kentucky Derby. I turned it down, though. That's a story for another time on a different podcast, so we'll get to that later. But I just thought I'd bring that up. But Kentucky Derby was cool, as it always is. It finally wasn't raining during the race, which seems to be a pretty big rarity now and then. So that was pretty cool. I forgot who won. Golden Tempo, a 23-1 long shot. It was the first time that a female trainer won the race. Pretty cool stuff. So I just wanted to highlight those two things. And then in other MSU sports action, the men's tennis team in the NCAA tournament, they got eliminated in the second round, unfortunately. So lost to South Carolina after beating North Carolina. So they're unfortunately eliminated, but still a great season for the men's tennis team. Their coach did a good job. So good stuff around there, boys. Just wanted to highlight that. Okay, now on to... Oh boy. Now on to baseball action. This should be fun. Oh, a lot of stuff has happened in baseball. How about the Tigers? They went out to Atlanta to face the Braves. They lost the first game 5-2, including Javi Baez being carted off the field. Thankfully, it was only a sprained ankle, but he's going to miss some time. He has missed some time, but thankfully it won't be as long as it probably should have, considering how bad it looked at the time. Then they lost the second game of the series. Oh, and also Casey Mize got injured, had a groin injury in that same game. So it was a great game for the Tigers. They lost the second game to the Braves in a walk-off, 5-3 for Kenley Jansen blowing the save. But they were able to rally and win the series finale 5-2. Before coming home to play, and they're on a homestand right now, nearing the end of the homestand, I should say. They first faced the Rangers. They lost the Rangers 5-4 after Jack Flaherty had his vintage 4-run, 5-hit, 2-inning outing that he always seems to have. The Tigers tried to rally but blew it late, losing 5-4. Then they beat the Rangers 5-1 off of a good outing there. And then they took the series finale and took the series against the Rangers 7-1. And I, ladies and gentlemen, was in person for that game against the Rangers. It was fun. There was other action, I should say, going down in the city at that time. Get to them a little later. But we were down there for the Tigers game. Those were my free tickets that I got for my Detroit Sportsnet subscription. We sat in the upper deck. It was a good view. Really good view. But we ended up walking around for most of the game as well. We saw a good amount of the game in the outfield. And it was a pitcher's duel to start off. It was a bullpen game for the Tigers. And the Texas pitcher was dealing to start the game off. But the Tigers got to him and were able to explode for some runs. Late in the game, Jake Rogers, a nice 2-hit game. Saw a torque bomb. Saw an in-person torque bomb. Oh, yeah. So that was awesome. It was a really fun environment. You know, I love going down to Comerica Park. I love going down to Tigers games. I think Comerica Park's a really nice stadium, but also I just really like being at the baseball games. I mean, the smell of those almonds, it's so much different at a Tigers game. So that was a lot of fun. And it was a good environment. Not super cold, but I did bring a jacket because it did get a little chilly once the sun went down, which was not the weather we were, I guess, hoping for, but what are you going to do? It's Michigan. It's going to be in the 50s for, like, the next month, it feels like. Probably will be. At least the next 2 weeks. Great. Happy winter, everybody. But it was fun. Had a good time. And got to see a Tigers win. So, can't complain there. Won't be my last time at a Tigers game this season. So, you can bet it on that. But that was the last bit of good news that I had for the Tigers. Things went downhill fast. The next night, Monday night, was supposed to be a Scooble start. Scooble's done for the year. He's having elbow surgery for loose bodies, aka bone spurs. Awesome. That's just what we need on going all in on a World Series push, only for the whole piece around it to have elbow surgery in early May. Now, this is the recovery timeline for this injury is not a season-ending injury. It's about 2 to 3 months, which puts him about early July, early August timeline, right? So not done for the year. But we got to remember that this is a contract year for Tarek Skubal, and his manager is Scott Boras. So Scott Boras wants to shut him down to further the trade to Los Angeles. Awesome. awesome. Just great. Gotta love Scott Boras being an absolute dick just for a couple extra bucks. We'll see how it plays out. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen. Recovery timeline is way down the line, but it's a huge hit. There's a lot of Tigers on the IR right now. Gleyber Torres went down with a knee injury. We already talked about Casey Mize, talked about Javi Baez, now Skubal. Zach McKinstry finally is coming back from injury. He's been out for most of the year. We have a lot of other guys on injury. Jackson Jobe, Justin Verlander. I mean, all these guys are out. How the fuck are they supposed to compete? They have no... Again, this is like the third year in a row now. We have no pitching roster because all of our pitchers are gone in the first month of the season. What the fuck are we doing? But there's still baseball to be played. And, yeah, the first game of the series was kind of a shit fest. The Tigers scored 4 runs on 3 hits. And they lost 5-4 to the Red Sox. It was a rain. The game started early because of rain. Then storms came. The Tigers got a couple runs off of the wet ground, and then the rain came down, and just the catalyst of the Tigers having a second meltdown this season. During a rainstorm, as the Red Sox scored 5 runs right before the rain delay. To take a 5-2 lead, and then the Tigers tried to come back, but it wasn't enough. If I have a nickel every time the Tigers had a complete pitching meltdown during a rainstorm, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that happened twice. And then the most recent game, which is tonight's game, at the time of recording this, they lost 10-3. It was 10-2 after 4 innings. And I didn't watch the game because I was watching the Pistons game, obviously. But there was a benches clearing brawl that saw Framber Valdez get ejected. Great for team morale. Things are looking great in the D right now, aren't they? Not going great for the Tigers, but maybe they will rebound. Alright, now Lugnuts action. Garry conveniently doesn't do game scores anymore. He just waits till the end of the series and says who's won the series. Who gives a fuck who wins the series, Garry? We'll have a discussion about that when you come back. But first, let's go over that series. They were playing a 7-game series against Dayton, because one of those games was rain delayed from the earlier series of the season. They took game 1, 11-6. Then the second day was a doubleheader. They lost both games 1-2-5, and then they lost the second game 7-0. They won 9-8 on the 30th. The fourth game, they won 10-0. Just to kick off the month of May. And they lost 3-5, and then they won the series finale 15-7 against Dayton. So good stuff there for the Lugnuts, who sit, I don't know what their record is. Maybe it'll show me. It will not. Let's look at standings. Where do the Nuts sit? Like that quote. Oh, they're at the bottom. Great. Sit 11-17. Sitting at the top right now is Great Lakes Loons, 17-10. Great. So that was it for the Lugnuts. Lugnuts stuff there. MSU baseball action. They had UCLA in town, the number 1 team in the country. They lost game 1, 1-4. They lost game 2, 3-4. And then game 3, they were up 10-2 and had a complete pitching meltdown and lost in a sweep, 11-13. Great. Just great. Love that we gave Jake Boss a contract extension. And then most recently, last night, at the time of this coming out. They lost to Bowling Green. They beat Bowling Green, 12-4. Cool. Good job there. Tonight they play Western Michigan, so it'll be interesting to see how they're able to compete there. I will leave the Kalamazoo Growler stuff for Garry to talk about next week. And other baseball or other news, the only other baseball related news that I had, the Phillies fired their manager, Rob Thompson, very early in the season. This was on April 28th, very early in the season to be firing your manager. I know the Phillies are off to a pretty bad start for the season, but I would think that they would still want to keep him after they almost took him to a World Series. But I don't know. So whatever you want. I mean, that's just the Philly way, you know. That's what we call the Philly special. Grand old times. All right. That was it for baseball. A lot of fun stuff there. The college season's almost over. Then we're going to be getting into the Growlers and all that action. So that'll be fun. Now we'll move on to hockey. Obviously, not a lot of hockey stuff going on except for the NHL playoffs. So let's take a look at the standings for the bracket real quick. They are fully into the second round now, so I'll give a quick recap of the first round results. Well, and then we'll go into the second round. Obviously, we already talked about last time, Colorado sweeping the Kings 4-0. Minnesota beat Dallas 4-2. Vegas beat Utah 4-2. Anaheim beat Edmonton 4-2. Buffalo beat Boston 4-2 for their first playoff series win in over a decade. A long time. Almost 20 years, I think it was. Don't ask who has the longest playoff win drought now. Don't ask. Probably the best series of the first round was the Canadiens and the Lightning, with the Canadiens coming on top 4-3, and this was in Game 7, winning 2-1 on the road with only 9 shots on goal. Nine shots on goal. They had 9 shots on goal, and you win 2-1. If you're the Lightning, what are you doing? What are you doing? It's funny to see, though. And then Carolina obviously swept Ottawa 4-0, and Philly beat their in-state rival Pittsburgh 4-2. So that was the first round standings. Second round standings as they currently stand. Colorado up 1-0 on Minnesota. 1-0. Vegas took the first game of the series against Anaheim. Buffalo and Montreal have not yet played, or not yet finished a game, I should say. So that's still no game winners there yet. And Carolina is now on a commanding 2-0 series lead to Philadelphia after winning the other night in a long overtime battle. So that is the NHL playoff update. I would say probably right now the two teams in the best driver's seat will be Carolina and Colorado. But that Buffalo-Montreal series looks very interesting. Very interesting. Because those are two teams that are not very far from each other. Because, like Ann Pomeroy would point out, Montreal is not west of Detroit. But pretty cool stuff overall. Been pretty good playoffs for the NHL so far, which is really good. And what's also been a good playoff so far, the NBA. And this is where we will round out the episode. But before we get to the NBA action, I want to highlight some college stuff. It was revealed that MSU basketball, men's basketball, will be playing Tennessee in Nashville next season. Looks like it's going to be at the arena that the Predators play at, Bridgestone Arena. I don't know why you wouldn't just play it in Knoxville. I really hate neutral site games, especially when it's so close to one of the schools, but it's a little bit bigger of an arena so they can sell a few more tickets, and NBC or fucking Peacock or fucking ESPN can get their camera crews in there. What the fuck, dude? Just play it in fucking Knoxville, dude. Stop being a pussy. But that'll be cool. Regardless. What else did I have? Yeah, I had a couple other NCAA things. Probably one of the bigger pieces of news this week. The NCAA agreed to expand March Madness for both the men's and women's. It's going to be expanded to 76 teams. There's only one reason why they're doing this. Only reason why. More TV revenue. And it sucks. And I guarantee you, if Auburn had gotten in the tournament this year, there wouldn't be any calls to do this. But because Bruce Pearl's son missed the tournament, he had to bitch. And they did it for him. Guarantee you that's what happened. It's because we need to see these schools that are 2 games under 500 going into the tournament. We have to see them get blown out. We have to see them get blown out. They have so many players that have so much untapped potential because turns out they're not that good. Fucking hate it. Fucking hate it, dude. Just fuck everything. Just have us pay for nothing because that's what you want. Anyway, the other thing that I had was Detroit Mercy got a 1-year postseason ban due to too low of a grade point average on their basketball team. You know, the men's basketball team coached by Mark Montgomery. Great idea to leave Michigan State, wasn't it, buddy? So that's pretty funny. Now we can get to the NBA. Now we can get to the NBA playoffs. We'll start with the Pistons action. Oh my God, what a playoffs it has been for the Pistons. When we last spoke last week, I really didn't think I really didn't have much hope for the Pistons. And that hope was further slimmed when they lost again to the Magic. 94-88. 94-88. And I really thought that was it. You know, they were down 3-1. They were getting owned. I mean, they bricked so many wide open shots in Game 4. Of course, Desmond Bane hitting every lucky shot in the book. I thought it was over. I really did. I really thought it was over. But folks, it was not over. Pistons rebounded, beating the Magic 116-109. This was Franz Wagner went down in Game 4 with an injury, and he would not play again this series. And I really think that was the turning point for the Pistons. One of the turning points, I should say, is they rebounded and beat the Magic 116-109. Cade Cunningham and Paolo Banchero each having 45 points. An historic duel. But the Pistons forced the series back to Orlando, but I was like, they're not going to win Game 6 in Orlando. Orlando's just too good at home. Lights are too bright. You know, they're not going to be able to pull it off. And it looked like that at the start. They got down 60 to 38 at half. After being up 1, I should say, to start the second quarter. The Orlando went on a huge run, 35 to 12. The game looked over. But I don't know what was said in that locker room. I don't know what was done in that locker room. It was probably some form of sorcery, god tier magic. I don't know. But the Pistons put on one of the biggest defensive clinics that I have ever seen in a basketball game ever. The Pistons come out of the locker room and proceed to outscore the Magic to end the game 55 to 17. After being down 24 points early in the third quarter, they rally back 55 to 17. You know, the Pistons didn't even hit that many shots. They were, not hitting a lot of shots. But the defense was insane. You know, they cut the deficit to 10. Duncan Robinson's finally hitting threes after being a fucking liability on both ends of the ball. Then Orlando comes back and hits a couple threes, back up 17. You're like, oh no, this is over. But the Pistons dug their heels in. Dug in, locked in. They rally all the way back to tie it at 72. Cade Cunningham was on fire. Cade Cunningham, this entire series, was just insane. I mean, he's my king. Literally. I mean, he was playing like a god. The Pistons go from down 62 to 38 and win the game 93 to 79. They hold the Magic to 19 points in the second half, including 8 points in the fourth quarter. The Magic had 1 field goal in the fourth quarter. They had 4 field goals the entire second half. That's insane. The Pistons put on one of the most insane defensive clinics I've ever seen in my life. It was literally, I still cannot believe several days later that has happened. Could not believe it. And they do it. They force a Game 7 in Detroit. They force a Game 7 in Detroit. And, you know, it was scrappy to start. Paolo Banchero did everything he could to try and salvage the series for Orlando. He put up 38 points. But it was not enough, folks. The Pistons won 116 to 94. And they win the series. Oh my God, finally. The Pistons get out of the first round for the first time since 2008. They pull it off, 3 straight wins. It was insane. We got down to Detroit to see the fourth quarter before going to the Tigers game, and it was awesome. We're watching on the TV outside Little Caesars Arena. It was insane. Insane. You could really tell the team finally, you could tell that the Pistons outlasted the Magic. They ran them out of gas. And Orlando really did run out of gas. I mean, if Franz Wagner does not get hurt, Orlando probably wins this series in 6 games. But Pistons dug their heels in. Cade Cunningham turned it on. And the untold soldier, Tobias Harris, Unk was on fire. Everything was going well for the Pistons there. That was magical. Really something magical. And it's just, I think, what we needed. You know, that the Tigers missed their window. The Lions missed their window. The Red Wings, we don't know what the fuck they're doing. But, like, I thought, really, the Pistons, going down 3-1 against the Magic, had missed their window, too. Or were going to miss their window. But that window, baby, still wide open. Wide open. And it's just awesome, folks. I mean, it is just awesome. I'm absolutely loving it. The Pistons are too, and so is JP Bickerstaff, as they gave him a contract extension after the Game 7 win. I think if they lost Game 7, they would have fired him. But they won't. But they didn't fire him. I don't think they should. I really like JP Bickerstaff. I think he's done a lot of great things in Detroit. So I'm very happy. Very, very happy that he gets the contract extension that I believe he deserves. But there's still basketball to be played, folks. There's still things to do. The Pistons are now taking on the Cavaliers in the second round, a team that they've lost 12 straight games to in the playoffs. The Pistons have not even won a game once since 2008. But yet they did it. And this was not an easy game, folks. This is why I'm wearing the jersey, because I was just watching game 1 before this. Not an easy game. I mean, they got up 17, but the Cavs hit some huge threes. Dominated the board. But the Pistons came through, held on for victory. 111 to 101. The Pistons are up 1-0 in the series. This is the first time that they've had a series lead outside of that elimination game since 2008. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's just awesome. Game 2 tomorrow night in Detroit. I don't know exactly how this series is going to go. I mean, we're up 1-0, but Cleveland, in my opinion, doesn't have the size that Orlando did. I think Orlando was a really good matchup for the Pistons in the way that they were able to really show their strength in the paint. But the Cavs are better with shooting. I mean, Donovan Mitchell, my God, he's a dog. He's a dog. That guy. James Harden, fucking hate James Harden. Okay. Fucking hate James Harden. He's an absolute asshole. He's the reason why the NBA is a 3-point foul baiting league today. I'll stand by that all the time. But the Cavs got some good bench points from Soul. His name is Soul. I don't know what the fuck. But the Pistons held on. Yes. Oh, it feels so good. As for the rest of the playoffs, we'll go over the remaining first round series, how they ended up. The Pistons 3-1 comeback over the Magic was not the only 3-1 comeback in the first round. The Philadelphia 76ers proving me wrong, proving everybody wrong, coming back to beat the Celtics 4-3. They were down 3-1 in that series. Took 2 of 3 on the road in that 3-game stretch. Really funny to laugh at Boston, because I really thought Boston might be the NBA Finals representative. I think a lot of people thought they would be. Nope. Didn't even get out of the first round. You lost to Joel Embiid. You lost to Joel Embiid in a playoff series. That's depressing. Delete your franchise. The Knicks beat the Hawks 4-2, including a 50-point rout in Game 6 in Atlanta. So Atlanta, you can quietly delete your franchise too. Cleveland got to the second round by outlasting the Raptors in 7 games. In a very sloppy series there. When it looked like the Raptors had all the magic on their side after hitting a go-ahead shot with a couple seconds left that was a shot of magic in Game 6, but Cleveland held on to win at home. The Spurs beat the Trailblazers 4-1. Minnesota upset Denver 4-2, despite 3 of their starters being out with injury. The Lakers thwarted the Rockets' comeback, winning the series 4-2. And the Thunder got the only first-round sweep, sweeping the Suns 4-0. And update for the second round so far. We already talked about the Pistons up on the Cavs 1-0. The Knicks are up on the 76ers 1-0. That game really wasn't that close. And the big upset, the Minnesota Timberwolves are playing with house money. They upset the Spurs on the road in the game 1, and so they're up 1-0. And currently the Thunder and Lakers are playing their first round game. The Thunder are up 7 on the Lakers currently in the third quarter. All right, so that is that. We'll update that action more next week once we get going. The only other update on the NBA, the Magic, after blowing that 3-1 lead, decided they were done with their coach, Jamal Mosley, and he is out of here. He's gone. To be fair, I don't think the collapse was all on him. But you got, if Wagner plays, the Magic are still playing basketball right now. But you still have to make the adjustment. Like, you're up 24 at home in Game 6. You got to make that adjustment. And they just didn't. They didn't make that adjustment. And too bad for them. Too bad. So sad. Go kick rocks. You suck. All right, well, that is it for this episode of the Live, Laugh, Left podcast. I've got everything covered that I needed to get covered, and I have to go do some chores and then go to bed. We'll do more next week. I've got some trivia to talk about. Garry will be back, and we're going to try to have Ann on, as Ann is currently enjoying a new stadium. So hopefully we'll see some Ann Pomeroy action next week, but that is still to be decided. But of course, we'll update the Pistons and the other NBA playoff action. We'll update NFL, or NHL, NASCAR, and all that other awesome stuff. So, anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Live, Laugh, Love podcast. Stay tuned for the much more amazing content. And until next time, see you guys later. Goodbye.